Mm. Ah. Okay. Okay. We should be just about ready to start. I'm going to wait till I see Freddie's little note that he has connected us into the mainframe of the web page, so that this will go out onto the web page. We'll give him just a few minutes and then we're going to start. Just a few seconds here. Okay. Hi, everybody. How are we doing? My name is Mary Kay Anderson, and I am a holistic practitioner come hypnotherapist. And I'm here today to talk to you about how to take control of your body. And this has been a lesson that it's been a very hard lesson for me to listen to and to learn. Now, if you're listening to this on the replay, thank you very much for having a listen. And have a listen through, and I'll be giving cues and things like that you can type in for certain things. Okay? So, lovely. I really appreciate y'all being here. So how do we take control of our body? Well, the story I'm going to tell you is my story. And my story is personal to me, but I also believe that some of the components are also very relative to other women. And I'm going to say women and men, women in particular, but also to men. Men would can have the same issues and problems. But here we go. So how do you take control of your body? So let's look at, do you have excess? Are you holding excess weight? Are things just don't seem to ever work out right? Does it seem like you try this diet, you do this, you do that, and nothing is working? And do you give up on your plans and your dreams so very easily? What is eroding your confidence? How can you take control? What is keeping you stuck in this never-ending cycle over and over again of doing basically the same thing or a variation of that same thing and getting nowhere? All right. Well, how that works is this. What are the causes of excess weight? We know we have emotional eating. Maybe we have what we call metabolic syndrome, something where our metabolism isn't working right, or our hormones, we have low hormones, or we have overactive hormones. But metabolic syndrome is where our body is not functioning appropriately to burn fat. Now, again, I'm telling you my experiences. I'm not giving medical advice. I will tell you about a doctor, Dr. Mindy Pelz, P-E-L-Z, Dr. Mindy Pelz, P-E-L-Z. And she has, excuse me, she's where I get a lot of my information and has helped. I've used a lot of her techniques to guide me through this process. Now, if you go back to my page, Vibe Institute on Facebook, facebook.com/Vibe Institute, I have two pictures up there. One is the first one is a picture from 4 years ago and a picture side by side with a picture from about a week ago. And the second picture is a picture of me about since July, and a picture of a week ago. And I want you to have a look at those when you're through, when we're through with the chat. Go have a look at those, because here's the deal. In the second picture, where I had been working since July on really getting into, getting my body right back where it belongs, still thinking I may not have control, that I may not be able to do this. I'm down 4 stone, 5 pounds from July. And it feels amazing. Okay. I don't know how much I was from 5 years ago, because I don't even think I was weighing myself then. And I'd be afraid after looking at that picture. I think I'd have been afraid to get on the scales. So I really don't know how much weight that is. But the bottom line is, the things I'm going to tell you today are things, some of them you can do straight away. Some you may have to work yourself into, and that's all okay. And it doesn't have to happen straight away. I mean, it took me, when I started in July, it took me several months of really getting into what I was doing before I really felt I was comfortable with it and felt that I was actually seeing some results. But it works. And the thing is, the more you've held this weight, the longer you've held this weight, and particularly if you are a lady of a certain age like I am, either pre-peri or menopausal or postmenopausal, the bottom line is that it's going to be even harder. Okay. And that's what drove me on my journey, was I was doing everything I could think to do and nothing was working. And I attributed it to being of that certain age. So what happens to us where we feel, first off, where we feel we don't have any control over our body? Okay. We just don't know or understand why we don't have control over what we're doing, or find it difficult to initiate certain solutions. Okay. Well, there are some things that that you can have happen to you in your younger life that will affect. One of them is if you have had one or both or some authority figure as a controlling figure in your life, where you weren't really taught to be independent, where you were taught that you do what you're told, where you follow. And when I say controlling, I mean really controlling. All right. Have you had any sudden traumatic incidences? Did you nearly drown? Were you in a crash? Anything like that can set you up, because your subconscious mind, okay, remember we have that, from birth to 7, records everything and how we need to stay safe. And if we've had trauma from 7 and before, we are going to feel very out of control when things aren't going the way we want them. And we can feel very out of control with that. So, excuse me. So there's those. The third one, which now the first two I had worked with and dealt with. The third one, it is one that I felt was the last bastion. And actually, I didn't really come to this realization until just a few months ago. If you have been experienced sexual abuse as early as age 7, even to as early as before age 4. Okay. And I did have that situation. And if you think about, let's think logically for a minute. You're in a situation where somebody who is in an authority figure, someone who is in charge, okay, and you're maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, and that's all you know is you've got an authority figure here, and you're being put into a position where you have no control, and things are happening that you don't like nor want. That begins a pattern. And as that pattern is reinforced, not necessarily by the sexual abuse that began it, but about not getting control. Every time you feel that your control has been taken away, it reinforces the fact the feeling that you don't have control, that you don't have control over your body, that no matter what you do, the body's going to do exactly what it wants. So I just wanted to bring that up as well. Now, the first thing I ever did to start looking at what I needed to do was I went through several courses of hypnosis. And each time we went deeper, we found more stuff, a lot of emotions, a lot of crazy thinking. And I say crazy thinking, it's not crazy when you're being brought up and when you're experiencing it, but when you look at it with the rational mind, it's kind of crazy thinking. But I went through the hypnosis and really started, losing weight one time, got that down, and then it came back on. And then I did another course, and then I was a little more stable. So that was great. No problem. Now, what's the next thing did I do? And this only started in July for me. All right. In July, I started taking exogenous ketones, which means I'm taking ketones that are not made by my body. I purchase them and I drink them. And within 30 minutes, I am in ketosis. Now, what's the advantage? I don't have to stick to a stringent ketogenic diet. The results are instantaneous. They work. What else do the ketones do for me? They increase my mental clarity. They decrease inflammation. They increase my energy. They promote fat burning within my body, and they're neuroprotective, which means they go to the brain to protect the brain and give the brain the energy that it needs. That's what they do. Okay. So now that's where my clarity and all those things are coming up. Okay. Now, what did I have to do diet wise when I was doing this? I did what I called a low carb keto-esque diet. Wasn't really strict keto, but what I did is I did a low carb diet. Okay. And then I did normal protein and then a little bit higher fat, never as much. And I have a little guide that I use. It's called Carb Manager, and I plug my food in it. It tells me for what I want to do, what I should eat, but I never reach my maximum protein. I never reach my maximum fat, and I always keep my carbs right around where they need to be. So it's a very good tool to help me track myself. All right. So that's the first thing I did. And with that little program up until about, I'd say November, December, it was trial and error. You're not going to get it right the first time, but you're going to learn. And we'll talk more about some things in just a minute, but you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to do it, how to get it right. Listen to and learn to listen to your body. We can sometimes be so disconnected from our bodies, and that's through some of the issues I spoke of before, but we can become so disconnected from our body that we don't listen to what it's telling us. Okay. So since about December, then I thought, hey, I've got this down. And then I ran across Dr. Mindy Pelz. Pelz is her last name, Dr. Mindy. And she is the most amazing person on YouTube talking about fasting. Now, don't go crazy. I'm not talking about no food, no water. I'm talking about different and various types, and I'll talk to you about a few of them. And how fasting can help you do what you want with your body. Get your body to do what you need it to do, okay? Now, I thought that was crazy because my body does what it wants, right? No. We've never been given the instruction manual to our bodies. Very rarely, if ever. All right. So now we have an instruction manual. We also have, there's another physician that talks on fasting, which is Dr. Fung, and he is a nephrologist, and he has developed fasting and ketogenic things to work with and work on. He's amazing. I love listening to him. So these are two references that you can go to if you want to know more about fasting, if you want to learn about how to fast. So the way I started with intermittent fasting, which means I skipped breakfast and I ate a lunch and a dinner. That's what I did. I took my ketones in the morning, my ketones in the afternoon, and I intermittent fasted. And that was working very, very well. And then I got kind of proficient and I thought, this is really good. Then I learned about other ways I could fast. I could do a 24-hour or what they call OMAD, 1 meal a day. Okay. And I started fasting that way. So I was doing, but then I found if I kept doing the same thing, my body got used to it and nothing was shoving and nothing was moving. So then I said, right, there has to be something to get me off this plateau. So this is when I went back to Dr. Peltz and I started looking at other ways to fast. And I'm going to go through a few things with you here in just a minute that will help you, that helps you get from your body and help your body get what it needs. All right. Now, so then I was on to OMAD. Then I started mixing up intermittent fasting and the 1 meal a day. And I was doing great. Absolutely fabulous. And then my, where I have my ketones, they started doing a once a month 60-hour fast. It's not as bad as it sounds. Okay. What it does is you start after your dinner on Sunday is when you stop eating. Then you do your ketones, and then I would do a broth, and which is what you do. They call it a dirty fast or fast mimicking, where you go ahead and would get up the next morning and I'd have my ketones in the early morning. Then at 12, I'd have vegetable broth and then, or bone broth, either one. At 3, I'd have ketones, and at 6, I'd have another broth. And I would repeat that for Monday and Tuesday. And then in Wednesday, I'd go ahead after 8 a.m., I could go ahead and eat because that was my 60 hours. But the third time I did that, I felt absolutely amazing. And now I'm going to tell you why. This is because I didn't understand. But this is why. The reason is when we go ahead and we decide we're going to try some fasting and we do some fasting, here's what happens in your body. And I really, honest to goodness, I didn't believe this at first. I thought they're just having me on, but it's the truth. When you're doing intermittent fasting, when you hit 13 hours of fasting, what happens? You start secreting growth hormone, and that brings on an anti-aging effect. So 13 hours fast, that's a good place to start. You are starting to secrete growth hormone, okay? So let's say we extend it a little more. What happens next? Now we're going to go to 15 hours, and we're going to fast for 15 hours, which means if I get up at, let's say the night before I stop eating at 6, that's when my dinner was finished. All right. So to get a good 15-hour fast, I would be 12 hours in the evening. Okay. 12 hours from the evening to the morning, which is 6 to 6. Okay. And then for 15 hours, I only need 3 more hours. So by 9 o'clock, I can have my lunch or my breakfast or whatever I want. Or I can go a couple more hours and have my first meal around noon. Okay. But at 15 hours, what happens? Okay. You start creating your own ketones. Okay. This is on top of if you take exogenous. When I'm taking exogenous, I'm now creating my own ketones. I am moving from being a sugar burner, which is carbohydrates, into being burning fat, which is, if we look at it rationally, that's what we all want, isn't it? We want to burn fat because fat is what's there that we want to get rid of. Okay. So we've got to do that. So now we're burning fat. Now, again, the ketones are going to the brain and protecting the brain, like we talked about, giving you more clarity, giving you more focus. All right. It's decreasing inflammation in your body. We get inflammation in our body from lots of things, accidents, injuries, and bad diet. All right. Bad diet, sugar. Sugar is majorly inflammatory. All right. This inflammation has to come down. If we're going to get our body to work right, we've got to get that inflammation down. All right. And overall healing effects. We can heal our body through diet, through fasting. And once we hit that 15 hours, we start healing our cells, and our cells start healing our body. Now, here comes the fun one. Let's just say we want to get a little more adventurous and we want to do a 17-hour fast. This is all can be done on intermittent fasting, 2 meals a day, no problem. You're not going to starve, I promise. All right. We at 17 hours are stimulating what we call autophagy. Now, Dr. Asumi won the Nobel Prize. I think it was in 2018, 2019. And he won the Nobel Prize for understanding and discovering, so to speak, autophagy. All right. Autophagy is where the cellular intelligence is turned on and it begins to heal and detox the body. What that means is your body is now going out and looking for ways to get more energy. It's looking for ways to go ahead and get rid of wounded or dying cells and convert them into energy. And we begin to feel absolutely brilliant. That's the beginning of it, okay, at 17 hours. And at 24 hours, we repair the gut. We increase the healing even more. We begin to create stem cells and reboot the immune system, and begins to have effect on autoimmune diseases. So if you can do a 24-hour fast, which is from dinner to dinner fasting it's called. If you can do that, you can begin to work on your, if you have autoimmune conditions, that's great. You can work on that. You increasing your ketones again. And as you're doing that, it increases GABA, which is a relaxant that we can produce. All right. Which relaxes the brain, also can decrease anxiety. So lots of really good things beginning to happen at 24 hours. We're going to go one more. We're going to go two more, and then we'll cut it on the fasting. If you have questions, please ask. All right. Now, what if we did a 36-hour fast? What's going to happen? Well, we can use a 36-hour fast to break a plateau if we're not losing weight. All right. And we increasing the intelligence of the cells to find even more stored energy and begin to heal the body even further than it already is. At 48 hours, we're resetting our dopamine receptors so that we're happier, more content, and increases the antioxidants. All right. And one more at the 72 hours, we're increasing stem cell production. And again, continuing to reboot the immune system. Our body knows what to do. Dr. Bruce Lipton proved that cells have intelligence by putting them in an agar dish, by putting food by one side of them and they going toward it. And if they put something that was toxic next to them, the cell would go to the other side. Cells know what to do. We have to give them the opportunity to do what they know to do, and fasting is a way to do that. So, needless to say, I'm an avid faster now. I fast avidly, and it works brilliantly. So, taking control. So the concept is, if you know how and what you want your body to do, and you can use exogenous ketones, you can use fasting, you can use whatever tools in your toolbox you have to tell your body what you want, and your body will do it as long as you do what that body needs you to do to create that healing process within you. Okay? That was a mouthful, wasn't it? So it's brilliant. Now, there are things. Here's the thing. You have to know also when to break a fast. Say you're doing, now, when you first start, you want to do little fasts. You want to do the intermittent fasting. I did the 2 meals a day for months before I felt confident enough to go from day to day. And that was brilliant. And then when I started doing my once a month 60 hours, I felt brilliant. But then the last time I did it, on the third day, I was just getting ready the night before I was ready to break my fast, I started feeling not well. I had a headache. I was kind of sick to my stomach, and I felt kind of rough. So I took an extra broth, and I went to bed, and I rested. And when I got up, I felt even worse. Okay? Now, I'll explain this in a minute. This isn't a bad thing, really. All right? I got up, and I said, okay, I'm going to have to break. I broke it about 2 hours early. I said, I'm going to have to break this fast because I'm not feeling well. The body's telling me something. So I went into one of the chat rooms with Dr. Peltz, and I said, what is this? And I know it. I know the body's doing it, but it didn't click in my brain. In that fast, the body was getting down into the toxins that I had stored in my body, in the fat, and it was beginning to release those toxins, probably a lot of them all at once. And so when you're feeling that way and you can't shake it, then you stop the fast. That's it. you stop the fast. You're not, any fasting is beneficial, okay? Any fasting. Now, they also talk about water fasts, and those are good, but you can only do them kind of short term. But the bottom line is, this is how I have taken control. I would say a lot of the things that I went through, the, authoritative parent, the trauma that I experienced as far as I nearly drowned and things like that, feeling out of control. I think the hypnosis helped me with all of that. But it wasn't until I got started with the fasting that the realization to me came that my early experiences with abuse were actually what taught me that I couldn't control myself, my body, because somebody bigger than I was in control. And that anytime, and that pattern just reinforced until I didn't even think I couldn't do anything for my body. Now, if you're menopausal, this is the way to go, ladies. This is the way to go. This is my opinion, strictly my opinion, but it is the way to go because there's so many ways. Dr. Mindy talks about how you can go in and fast to build your hormones up, fast to be in line with your hormones, fast for anything and everything. If you have a need, there's a way to deal with it through a fasting process. All right. If you don't want to fast, well, then just do a low carb diet. But if you listen to Dr. Fung, here we go. And this is my last little bit of information, and then we're going to call it a day. Dr. Fung, I listened to him one day, and he had put up on the board that calorie deficit equals calories in minus calories out. Yeah, that's what we've been taught, right? Even in hypnosis programs that I've used, that's what they teach you. You take this many calories in and you exercise and get that many calories out and you'll lose weight. Wrong. Absolutely, positively, beyond a shadow of a doubt, wrong. Why is it wrong? Because as Dr. Fung says, number one, that equation assumes that all parts are equal and all parts are not equal. The part that is unequal is when you are expending those calories. You can exercise your little head off and you can still end up not losing because that calorie deficit has so many moving parts. Your hormones, how you feel, your cortisol levels, everything affects how the body will process that energy that you're putting to getting those calories gone. And they may not go according to textbook, or they may not go at all. They may not go at all. So all moving parts are not equal. Therefore, that doesn't work. And I can tell you calories in, calories out, it might work for a little while, but unless you make something a lifestyle, it's never going to work. Okay? So this is where we go back into the mental part of this. Whatever you start, if you decide something like this is good for you and you're going to give this a go, it has to be a lifestyle. And just like Dr. Mindy says, she helps people build a fasting lifestyle. Do I fast every day? No. I have what I call a feast day every week. And like today, in the beginning, it was like being a kid in a candy store. Oh, I can have this and oh, I can have that. Now it's just like, okay, I want to feast. I want to eat well. And I want to be sure that I don't put myself in a rebound. And so like today, I had one of my special coffees that I like. Okay. I had a toffee latte. Brilliant. But now the rest of the day, I'm just eating the way I would normally, as if I were fasting. I'm eating good protein, low carbs and moderate protein. There you go. And I'm still going to lose weight when it all comes down to it. All right. I hope this has been helpful to you because this is a big deal. It's a big deal. And when you keep doing, and see, the other thing that gets us feeling like we don't have control is when we have repetitive failures. If we're dieting and not making it a lifestyle, and we lose weight and it comes back, and we lose weight and it comes back. Every repetition of that just reinforces those old concepts that you are a failure and you have no control. That's it. That is it. Okay? That's the way it works mentally and psychologically. So the bottom line is, guys, this has to be a lifestyle. And it's time. If you're ready, then you're ready. And definitely, if you're menopausal or postmenopausal, this is the way to go. Because, like I said, I knew I wasn't dropping any weight because my hormones were all whacked out. Because I'm a postmenopausal woman, and everything was whacked out. So, how can I help you? Okay, 2 things. If you're interested in learning more about the exogenous ketones, which are, it is instantaneous. When I first tried them, I felt like I was on drugs. I felt like I was waiting for my next hit. Now, that didn't last long. The more I got used to them, the better off I was better off after I was used to them. So if you're interested in the ketones, go to my website, vibrationalinstitute.com, and look for the therapeutic ketone page, and you can purchase some samples there. All right. And that will give you an idea of what they're like, how they make you feel. And once I see you've purchased them, we'll give you a text and we'll have a chat and we'll get you all sorted. Okay. If you think fasting is something that you can or want to do, then you have a lot of references with Dr. Mindy and Dr. Fong. Those are the 2 I recommend. However, if you would like to work with me, we can work together. Just put on here, put on here ready to fast. And then we can have a little short chat, see if it's a good fit for you or a good fit for me. Make sure that we're both happy that we can do this. And we'll chat about what I can do to help you and how I can support you in this fasting journey, because it so works. It so works. And I think that's all I got for today, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, giving you some information. And I certainly hope that when you're ready, you begin to explore some of these crazy things. Hi, Mandy. How are you? It's nice to see people. I've been seeing lots of people lately I haven't seen in such a long time. But anyway, so it's the thing. It is what you need to do. If you're going to do it, you have to make it a lifestyle change. It cannot just be a diet. Okay? Thanks, everybody. Take care of yourself. And you can contact me through vibrationalinstitute.com or vibrationalinstitute@gmail.com. Okay? Guys, take care. So lovely to meet you. So lovely to talk to you. And if I can be of any assistance, get in touch. Bye.